Here we go.
Hey, this is Urban Dub. I'm going to talk you through how I've made some of the patches for my 2018 Serum sample pack. So on the screen we have a copy of Cubase. We could be using any DAW, whether it's Ableton, Reason, Fruity Loops, it doesn't really matter, as long as it supports Serum. So this is the patch that we're going to be analysing. So I'm going to open up Serum and we're going to take a look. So if you've never used Serum before, I suggest that you find a video online where you can learn the basics. I will cover some of the basics, but this is more about how I make patches. So let's start by turning everything off and just working with one oscillator. So now we're just working with one oscillator. The wavetable type in the oscillator is called E-guitar, you can see here. It's not moving through the wavetable position, it's stationary. I found the key to creating really strong patches is taking, say, an LFO and assigning it to lots of parameters across Serum, rather than using lots of different LFOs to do lots of different things. I like using like maybe one or two. So let's start with LFO 1. You can see I've drawn this sort of shape on here. It's almost like a saw shape. So LFO 1 is assigned to the level, detune, a small amount to the blend. So let's play Oscillator 1 on its own. Okay, so let's move on to Oscillator B. And again, you can see LFO 1 is assigned to different parameters, mainly the level, and this oscillator, we have it assigned to the wavetable position. And what that does is it moves through the wavetable, giving us kind of a resonant sound, like so. Okay, so we can add a sub-oscillator. You probably won't hear any difference, especially if you're on a laptop. So that's the core basics of the sound. Now we need to look at other parameters throughout the synth. I've used a slight amount of filtering using this filter here. So if you notice here, you've got A, B, N and S. They stand for like Oscillator A, Oscillator B, N for the noise generator and S for the sub. So if I've got them turned off, that means nothing will be passing through this filter. Obviously I've got them turned all on. So everything is passing through the filter. You've got lots of different filter types. I've gone for a real basic shape. And the idea behind it was to tame some of the tops. As I press the key, you'll see the filter move. It's just creating a bit more movement, so it's not just a consistent fuzz in the top end. So there's one other area I'd like to look at. It's LFO 2. I've used LFO 2 to create some pitch movement at the beginning of the sound. There you can see the shape I've drawn in. I've actually assigned this completely different to anything else that I've shown you so far, and it's done in the matrix section. So if I go down here, select Master Tune, select LFO 2 here, so this is my source and I'm telling it what to go to. Turn this up here, make sure this is going one direction and then play the sound. If I move this up so you can hear what it's actually doing, you can see it's creating a pitch dive, but I only want a subtle amount here. Okay, let's go back to the main page of Serum. At the moment it's not the most exciting sound. We need to process it more, we need to add some effects. To do this we go to the effects section with Serum, click on there and you can see the effects that I used are the ones on the left. I've bypassed them at the moment, but let's start at the top. I'm just going to talk you through how I used each plugin. So Hyper or Dimension, you've got two parts to it, are stereo tools. So I've just used these to add a bit more width in the stereo. So let's turn it on. Let's go back to LFO 1 as well. And I've used it for a slight amount of movement, especially on the Hyper on the mix. So let's play it. Sounds good. I've used a slight amount of flanging, which you won't even hear. And I'm going to skip the compressor and go down to the EQ section. And this is where I've added some more frequency automation. Let's have a listen. reverb is not a reverb, it's a type of filter. It's actually in this mist section here. So if you turn it on and have another listen, it's not actually doing too much. But just to back up what I was saying earlier, I use the same LFO to do lots of things. If we go back over here, you can see it's on all these different parameters, the filter, and even on the effects section. So the final part of this sound is the compressor. I've set it into multi-band mode. Let's turn it on. And it's just squashing down each band. So you've got 3 bands here, and I'm basically compressing them and pushing out the frequencies that I want. So let's play it back in the mix. Yeah, so that's how I made that particular sound. So if you've got any questions, hit me up, and thanks for watching.